My friend who was in Japan recently, he showed me a screenshot of what Tinder looks like as a guy in Japan. And the video showed probably, I would say, 30 to 40%, maybe 20 to 30% of profiles didn't have actual faces on them. They had like random pictures of cats and stuff. So many of the profiles seemed like there was a shyness or like a very deep-seated like awkwardness that exists around dating in Japan or something, you know? Which, I don't know, I never had seen that before and it was weird to me. Japan is everything wrong with society. So I'm actually going to Japan in like 6 days. Gonna spend about a week there, get my mind off all the BS that's happening in the world, try to relax, take a step back, and I'm excited to go. Everyone is excited to go to Japan. Everybody wants to go to Japan. People who have gone, they talk about how great it was. People who haven't gone, they talk about how great it will be eventually when they go. And everyone in between is probably dying to go as well. And Japan, while it is great from everything I've heard, does have issues that I think that America has. And in some cases, these issues are definitely heightened, right? Like there is a huge loneliness crisis in Japan. Like you can rent a family if you're so lonely. If you're one of these guys who is just in your room all day, just withering away, they have it so that you can rent a family. Like a bunch of actors, they will pretend to be your loved ones for like a given set of time. It's like so dystopian. It's really sad, actually. So let's take a look.
You're looking at a ferry leaving Tokyo destined for Kyushu, the southernmost island in Japan, one of several isolated locations where hundreds of Japanese people flee in the night. Around 100,000 people disappear in Japan every year, but these are not people who have gone missing in suspicious circumstances. Instead, they're part of Juhatsu, which literally translates as evaporated or evaporated people. People who voluntarily escape their lives in the middle of the night. They pack what little they can carry, leaving no forwarding address, and just simply vanish. This isn't just a handful of desperate individuals.
Wow.
We're talking about the equivalent of a small city of people choosing to delete themselves from existence every single year. Some even hire specialist night moving services.
I know that he's making it sound like this is some weird thing and that it's definitely strange and crazy, yet I think everybody in the back of their mind is always contemplating this to different extents depending on where they are in life. You don't think that I've thought at like a few rough times in my life that I should just give up all this internet stuff, all this silly shit, all this microphone, this headset, this keyboard, and go live in the woods, or like delete all the internet and go to just the Amazon rainforest and drink ayahuasca. Like there is this sort of cathartic feeling of just throwing it all away and hitting the reset button. And I don't think anybody who is framing what happens here as some outlandish thing truly understands that most people are a few bad days away from cracking at almost all times.
That help them relocate under cover of darkness to avoid detection. While some flee to the periphery, others find themselves in very poor districts like Kamigasaki and Osaka, otherwise known as the Skid Row of Japan, which have become like slums, something most people don't associate with a country known for being high-tech and ultra-clean. Some report not seeing their families for some 40 years,
Wow.
Their wives and parents saying they just left with the clothes they had on.
I mean, yeah, that's obviously shitty. And when I say, leaving everything behind to go live a new life, I meant like, your worldly possessions, right? Like the things that you are better off without in a lot of cases, like not your family and your kids. Like that makes you a deadbeat. That makes you a piece of shit, right? I more so mean the kind of people that give up doing the stuff that makes them the most money and the stuff that brings them the most material gratification for something way simpler, right? The people who they give up entrepreneurship or venture capital or banking and they go and, make like music on the saxophone or the piano, right? I think that stuff is, it's very beautiful in my opinion. Right? It really is sort of like balancing humanity when you're making a choice like that. It shows that we are all human at the end of the day.
The Juhatsu often flee debt or brutal job situations with low pay and grueling hours. Others are fleeing domestic abuse, partly driven by society's obsession with shame and the idea that family issues should remain private at all costs. And this is far from the only disturbing phenomenon that brings us inside modern Japan, a society in terminal decline, something that's uniquely Japanese but also a deeply horrifying warning for where the rest of the West is headed. Japan is quite literally every everything wrong with society. Because some people in modern Japan don't just have the will or courage to run away like the Chauhatsu. They choose a different way to retreat from society, finding themselves to a single room and rarely contacting the outside world.
That's just insane. Like, that is what's truly crazy. Not the people who run away and try to start over. I think what's truly crazy is knowing that the next 40 years will be a loop of the previous 40 and still choosing to live them out. That is insane. That is demented. Always strive for more. Always know that there is more out there. Do not let life pass you by. As Natasha Bedingfield said, the rest is still unwritten. Feel the rain on your skin. Seize the day. Carpe diem. There is nothing like being alive. People forget about this. They just die. They let the world take control of them rather than them taking control of their own lives. It makes me sad. And seeing people literally consumed by this nothing. This is nothing. Like, obviously this stream is a community and I know I'm talking to people and I'm entertaining people and I'm talking with people. There are people who decide that, you know, they will just scroll. They have some sort of income. Maybe they don't. Maybe they just have savings or something and they just rot. And that's just sad. That's a great way to do nothing with your life. And if you are a type of person that is seen throughout any modern society time and time again, that's an issue with the decline of the society. And anything that can be done to prevent that should be done.
This is the bedroom of a hikikomori.
Is that just piss?
One of Japan's 1.5 million social recluses who have voluntarily withdrawn from society. The windows are covered.
Low key though, can we not act like this is kind of peak male living though? I'm kidding. But what else do you need? You know, you got the keyboard monitor, probably a good PC setup. You get up, get your achievements, whatever, grind it out, go to sleep. Sheesh, man, sucks.
5 million.
But it also kind of doesn't suck. I don't know. I could probably live like this for a month, but after that, I'd be like, no, never again.
Social recluses who have voluntarily withdrawn from society.
Yeah.
The windows are covered with thick blackout curtains, blocking any trace of natural light. Empty convenience store bento boxes are stacked in towers beside a kitchen sink that hasn't been used in months. A gaming setup that might have once been worth thousands of dollars next to a bucket used as a makeshift toilet to avoid leaving the room.
That's just disgusting.
You might think this kind of setup belongs to a teenager.
Try living like that for 20 more years? Yeah, exactly. Like, no, don't. Yeah.
But many hikikomori are middle-aged men who have barely left their homes in years. Some live in a room in their parents' house, a situation known in Japan as the 80-50 problem. It involves elderly parents supporting their middle-aged children. There are hundreds of thousands of these arrangements across Japan, hidden behind closed doors in ordinary suburban houses. Sound familiar? In America, more 25 to 35-year-olds now live with their parents than ever, the highest rate since the Great Depression. It's the same in the UK, Australia, and New Zealand, and becoming more common in most European countries, where kids always used to just leave their home as teens. Instead, we just call this a cost of living crisis, but Japan shows us where this leads when it becomes permanent. Really, they're just a few years ahead of the West. The parent or parent, nearly always a single mother, are forced to accept the situation despite it bringing shame on the family. For those who won't escape or seal themselves off from the world, there's a more permanent exit route.
Wow.
Japan's unaliving rate has declined in recent years, but is still exceptionally high for a developed country.
What? Oh my god.
Unaliving rate has declined in recent years, but is still exceptionally high for a developed country. But what's strange about
Is that per what amount? 20,000 per what amount? A million?
it really isn't the numbers, it's
I'm trying to see this. It fell to this amount, but is it per what?
still exceptionally high for a developed country.
Yeah, is that really per 1 million? That's 2%.
But what's strange about it really isn't the numbers, it's how society views it. In most Western countries, unaliving oneself carries heavy moral stigma. In Japan, not so much, as many still believe it's better to die than live in disgrace, an ancient mindset dating back to the samurai era that hasn't completely disappeared. During the 2008 financial crisis, rates soared as people viewed it as taking responsibility for their failures. Train delays due to human incidents are so common in Tokyo and other cities that train operators are coming up with some creative solutions, like installing blue mood lighting at metro stations.
Oh my god, that's to make people psychologically less likely to take their own lives in a fucking train station. That's so insane.
And playing catchy melodies to distract people from their thoughts.
Oh my god.
These forms of extreme escape are all just the tip of a much bigger iceberg. They tell us about something happening on a much wider scale across Japan. Millions of Japanese people, especially the younger generations, are retreating from social life, and this all helps explain why the country is on the brink of a huge demographic collapse. The fertility rate has crashed to just 1.15, meaning the average Japanese woman will barely have one child in her lifetime.
Dude, they're gonna go extinct.
Tokyo, where almost everyone lives, it's even worse, with the fertility rate falling below 1 for 2 consecutive years. For perspective, you need a fertility rate of just 2.1 to maintain your population. At this rate, Japan's population could more than halve in less than 100 years.
Oh my god.
It's actually really difficult to get your head around what this means. Just imagine the town or city where you're living in right now and cut half of everyone out of the picture. We're talking ghost towns, hospitals without staff, trains and buses without drivers. Low birth rates are definitely a global issue, dropping below replacement levels across Europe and the US. You'll struggle to find a Western country where fertility hasn't hit record lows. Across the UK and most of Europe, women are just having one child at most.
Wow.
And if we carry on like this, by 2100, only 6 countries in the world are expected to have fertility rates above replacement levels. We're all
Wait. What?
sliding down that same demographic cliff.
That can't
In Japan,
correct.
The impacts are everywhere.
No
there
way.
are an insane 9 million properties sitting empty across the country right now, and thousands of schools are being forced to close, which not only concentrates people in the cramped cities, but also results in huge job losses. The truth is, this demographic death spiral is so bad that people aren't even trying to find partners anymore. In fact, nearly 30% of unmarried Japanese adults have never been in a single relationship.
That's just mind-blowing. I can't even imagine what that means. I convinced my girlfriend we're gonna have 2 to 3 kids instead of 1 to keep the population going. We shall do our part. Are you even Asian? Are you even Japanese? Bro, you're doing your part, but you're not even... Okay, whatever. I get it. You know, you're playing your part in the world population. Sure. You know what? W-mans. But, yeah, so anyway, I don't know if this is relevant, but it feels worth bringing up. My friend who was in Japan recently, he showed me a screenshot of what Tinder looks like as a guy in Japan. So he's obviously a traveler, so he's a white guy, and obviously it's known that Western white men, they get more attention on Tinder than the native-born population, and he was scrolling through all the profiles and all the women, and it was strange to me. I don't know what this means, or like what this, you know, sort of what the implication of this is, but he showed me a bunch of screenshots, and there was a sizable amount of, like, he showed me a video while he was swiping, and the video showed probably, I would say, 30 to 40%, maybe 20 to 30% of profiles didn't have actual faces on them. They had like random pictures of cats and stuff, or like weird esoteric memes, like of Hello Kitty and stuff. And you know, like, I understand that, you know, you can throw those in maybe to supplement what you already have for your photos. Some of these profiles literally, there was no trace of a human on there. It was like a cat or a photo of like the scenery and stuff. And this is very strange to me because, you know, this being so many of the profiles seemed like there was a shyness or like a very deep-seated like awkwardness that exists around dating in Japan or something, you know, which I don't know. I never had seen that before, and it was weird to me.
Compare this to America, where only 60% of young men are now single, double the rate for women. Dating apps have turned relationships into a commodity market, where most women compete for the minority of men, leaving everyone else behind. Dating apps are also flooded with people who never actually want to meet.
That's
In fact,
true.
it's even hard to find a plain normal photo of anyone
Yeah, this is what I was saying!
at all. And when dates do happen,
Yeah, like, look.
in fact, it's
So, yeah, see, it's just like an anime girl. And you can see, like, here, like, you can barely see this
even
person.
hard to find a
I swear to God, I didn't pre-watch this. When did this come out? Like a day ago? Okay, I don't know why my YouTube is, like, bugged. This is, like, a comment search extension I have. Maybe I can close out of it. But this is a brand new video. I'm not even subscribed to this guy. But, yeah, he showed me this. Like, a lot of these women, they don't even use, like, proper photos. There's just, like, either a shitload of filters or they have, like, weird, like, cats or stuff.
plain normal photo of anyone at all. And when Dates
Yeah.
do happen in real life, cultural conventions tend to get in the way for both Japanese people and outsiders. Casual meeting is seen as too forward, formal dating is seen as too serious. There are so many barriers and the shame of failure is extreme on top, which only pushes people towards a more dystopian virtual form of dating driven by virtual relationships.
Yeah.
AI girlfriend apps have exploded in popularity, but some companies have taken it to the next level. The Gatebox device offers a holographic companion named Azuma Hikari, who lives in a glass cylinder inside your living room. She'll text you throughout the day, controls your smart home devices, and provides emotional support whenever you need it. And since its release in 2016, the company has issued 4,000 marriage certificates to men who have wed their digital
4,000 marriage certificates.
companions. While the West faces a dating crisis, Japan just said screw it and industrialized the entire thing. The sex industry there isn't only about hooking up, it's about buying human connection. Host and hostesses bars where you literally pay someone to sit there, listen to your day, laugh at your terrible jokes, and act like they're interested in whatever boring stuff you want to talk about. As for Japanese women, there's this idea called the Christmas cake mentality. Women like Christmas cakes become undesirable after the 25th. You're supposed to find a husband and start having babies before 26, or you're considered damaged goods. Many also need to work full-time because single incomes don't cut it anymore. The beauty standards that enforce this are absolutely brutal. Double eyelid surgery has become so normal that parents give it
that's
as a high
another
school
one.
graduation gift.
Yeah, they are really obsessed with getting the upper eyelid, like, yeah, they get like an extra eyelid or something.
There are videos of girls
It's very, I don't know, it's dystopian.
as young
for
as
sure.
9 being put through cosmetic procedures mostly to make them look more Western. Skin whitening products dominate every drugstore with names like Snow Angel and Pure Ivory. Having plain skin signals you're refined, wealthy, marriage material.
Yeah.
Ever feel like you're stuck in a habit you don't even think about? Maybe it's something
Okay, this is like a fume sponsorship. Yeah, okay, we're good off that, Brady.
you can get even weirder though, as Japan has an entire industry based around renting friends, family members, or co-workers.
I said this one too. I'm telling you, there's some weird shit with the loneliness, man. Like now you're renting people. You have a robot that jerks you off, and the Goonmaster 4000 extracts your seed, and now your seed is being analyzed for your offspring being potential like threats to democracy via new CRISPR technology enhancers. Like they'll have your seed and they'll start doing a scan on the potential of your offspring becoming a member of a neo-Nazi militia group, and now they've exterminated that possibility from your seed because they have Bluetooth access to your testicular production facility. Not good.
The famous German film and documentary maker Werner Herzog followed
Crazy name.
one of these companies called Family Romance, which employs 1,200 actors who can play any role you need. Some roles are never supposed to end. For example, the founder was hired by a mother to play the father of a 12-year-old girl for several years. One client who hired a wife and daughter seems happy for the company. They have regular meals together, creating the illusion of family life for someone whose real family is
But you're not even acting at that point. Like, if it's 4 years that you're pretending to be someone's dad, you will end up caring about that person. Like, you're not above that.
gone. Just think about this for a second. A grown man paying actors to pretend to be his family, eating dinner with them night after night, knowing it's all fake but preferring it to the alternative, which is eating alone. It shows the extremes Japan has resorted to fix something people can relate to everywhere. It all feels
4 years, not 4 years. Okay, well, 4 years. Saying something like this happened for years could be 4 years.
profoundly Japanese, yet so very recognizable. Compare that to the West, where we're doing the exact same things but with extra steps and often more guilt. Where we have parasocial relationships with online influencers, huge explosions in things like OnlyFans and campsites, where you can watch your favorite streamer sleep. It seems like we're all starting to buy the same product
But I low-key did sleep on stream that one time.
Japan is, but we're just less direct about admitting it. So why has it come to this?
Well, I don't know. I don't think watching Kai Cenat's Mafia-thon 3 and, like, sending money... I don't know. I don't think sending streamers donations and shit is, like, the same as renting a family for multiple years to enact sort of things in your life that you don't have. Like, that's not the same, in my opinion, you know? At all. And I'm obviously a streamer, so I'm biased, but...
Why is Japan's extreme culture destroying its youth and ultimately the entire country? Well, we can find some answers in Japan's notoriously brutal workplace. Japan's economic miracle, which started in the 60s and saw its economy grow by some 10% every year for over a decade, was built on a simple promise. Work hard, be loyal to your company, and you will be rewarded with a job for life, a decent salary, and social respect. However, this promise has been thoroughly broken in in recent years. The American dream promised the exact same thing. Work hard, get a degree, buy a house, support a family. Now you need multiple jobs to afford rent, let alone home ownership. The social contract is breaking down everywhere. To understand why, you have to go back to the 1980s when everyone thought Japan was going to take over the world. Japanese companies were buying up Manhattan real estate and Hollywood studios. Business schools were teaching Japanese management techniques because they felt it would dominate everything. People like Steve Jobs marveled at Japan's product engineering.
It's funny, the group of people that do not use quality in their marketing are the Japanese. You never see them using quality in their marketing. It's only the American companies that do. And yet, if you ask people on the street which products have the best reputation for quality, they will tell you the Japanese products. Now, why is that? How could that be? The answer is because customers don't form their opinions on quality from marketing. They don't form their opinions on quality from who won the Deming Award or who won the Baldrige Award. They form their opinions on quality from their own experience with the products or the services.
The country seemed unstoppable,
Right.
but then the bubble burst in 1991 and Japan entered what economists called the lost decades. 30 years of economic stagnation that continues to this day. Property values collapsed, the banks failed, and companies started mass layoffs. But instead of adapting, Japan doubled down. The corporate hierarchy remained, the work culture just intensified to make up the difference. Walk through Shimbashi Station at 2 a.m. today and it's very common to see men in suits strewn across the roads and sidewalks.
Wow.
These are Japan's salarymen, office workers who've collapsed on the streets, sometimes from exhaustion, sometimes from alcohol, often a mixture of the two. Until everyone had a camera on their phone, most probably wouldn't have imagined the carnage brought upon Japan's richest districts at night.
Jesus.
But that's exactly what it looks like, with bodies slumped on the roadside, vomit on the floors, police dragging people off the metro platforms, and rubbish piled up and overflowing out of the bins. In some cases, these salarymen will be returning from nomikai, mandatory corporate drinking sessions that aren't really optional if you want to keep your job. The rules are bizarre and deeply hierarchical. Junior employees must constantly refill their seniors' glasses but never pour their own drinks. You're expected to match your boss drink for drink, even if he's twice your size.
Yeah, I don't know, man. The drinking culture, like, it seems weird to compare because, like, obviously, US, I am around a lot of college-aged kids, and so I'm exposed to a lot of heavy drinking. Like, I see it all the time. But then it's like, and I think, wow, that's, we're going pretty hard. But then you zoom out, and then you look at Europe. You have kids drinking out of vodka bottles when they're like 9 years old, and so it seems like we're doing it very fucking minorly compared to them. And then, like, again, like Japan looks like they're also going pretty crazy with the drinking. So yeah, I don't know. Like, it's hard to commentate on this stuff. Like, I don't know if they seriously do have a drinking problem. They might, but I do feel like sort of every place does, unless I'm wrong. I don't know. Maybe that's just ignorant. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, that was kind of disturbing. The guy walking up the escalator the wrong way, that kind of freaked me out. I didn't like see it. Like, it's just like sad. Like, he's just so like distraught and defeated from all the work that probably got him nowhere in life. Yeah.
Corporate drinking sessions that aren't really optional if you want to keep your job. The rules are bizarre and deeply hierarchical. Junior employees must...
Oh yeah, we already watched
area
this.
is considered deeply insulting. Some stay out all night until the first train starts running again at 5 a.m. It's not uncommon to head into clinics for an IV drip of electrolytes and nutrients to somehow function at work the next day. Look at this one, which advertises itself for those in Tokyo seeking quick recovery after social drinking events. Those with fatigue and dehydration...
I mean, that's just helpful, you know? Like, this was probably better than a vitamin water and a Gatorade, right? This should probably got, like, rare Japanese bark infused.
After alcohol consumption. Or this one, recommended for those who have consumed too much alcohol.
Yeah, well, I want one of these. You know,
travelers have been
good.
heading to 7-Eleven shops and pointing out the huge selection of colorful bottles the Japanese have invented to cure hangovers. But that's sometimes not enough, because for those who can't handle it, there's always Karoshi, literally meaning death from overwork. Thousands of families file compensation claims annually for people dying from their jobs, though the real number is much higher.
State broadcaster NHK revealed one of its reporters, 31-year-old Miwa Sato, had died from heart failure after working near 14-hour days. It took 4 years for NHK to announce Sato's death. Parents accused the network of a cover-up.
The reality is that in Japan, workers are working ridiculous hours.
American labor activist Louis Cardler says such sacrifice is seen as a virtue here.
There's a strong cultural norm that you have to devote everything to the company, and you're a corporate warrior, And I think that's what really pushes people over the edge.
We might call it burnout, but the reality is that most people in the West don't actually work much less than the Japanese anymore, and we're catching up rapidly. And at least the Japanese have more public and legal.
Well, yeah, I've seen this as well, where if you measure the data regarding productivity in the workplace and the relationship with that and how they're paid for their work, it actually appears that as the workplace has become more productive, wages have remained stagnant and in some cases decreased, which is very dangerous. You cannot overwork somebody and then underpay them. You know, that's just I would say, you know, when somebody is working like effectively for 8 hours, 10 hours, 14 hours, focused quality work, and you're paying them less than you were or you would have like 20 years ago, you have a big problem. A big fucking problem. And if that's what's happening in Japan, they might even have a bigger problem than we can imagine.
Holidays than Americans, with 16 national holidays compared to America's 12 federal holidays. And the US is still one of the only industrialized nations with no statutory minimum requirement for paid vacation days, while Japan guarantees up to 20 annual leave days by law depending on years of service. So maybe the health problems we're seeing from overwork in Japan are something we can look forward to down the line too. However, Japan has always had a really extreme work culture where dedication is valued and rejecting it is viewed as impolite. Progress comes from sacrifice, and some companies go too far by deliberately exploiting these values. They're called black companies, which are technically legal but engage in business practices that would be illegal elsewhere in the world. One former employee decided to document his experience working for one of these companies, filming his daily routine and explaining the system from the inside. The footage follows him through a typical day, leaving for work before dawn, working a 12-hour shift, eating dinner alone while his family sleeps.
Jesus, that is fucking grim. That's sad, man. That's just sad.
What do you think kids think when they become aware of all of this? What's their
Oh my god.
rational response? Don't engage with any of it. Over 300,000 Japanese students have simply stopped attending school. They've decided the entire system is just pointless.
I do have an issue where when I watch these videos, I don't know how much of it is sensationalized and exaggerated based off of headlines like this, and how much of this is actually on the ground noticeable when I were to go to Japan, right? Like, you can say that America faces a gun problem, you know, and there 100% is a lot of gun violence, but I don't see gun violence in my day-to-day life, right? And I don't think travelers who come to visit America will as well. So while you can talk about how bad it is, the visibility of the problem is still scarce. Now, I don't know if that's the same for this, right? I could be getting kind of swooped into this because of the way the video is framed, but it could really just be this bad. I don't know. I don't speak Japanese. I don't know anything about really the culture or the country itself, but this seems really sad. And it seems not just sad, it seems dire.
Some gather at Tokyo Plaza, where there's hundreds of kids essentially homeless and living in mango cafes. And you
Okay, that's kind of heat though. I see gun violence almost every day at work. Granted, I work on ambulances in the SF Bay area. Well, yeah, right, but like, that's, you know, like, oh, I don't see bouncy houses every day, but if I worked at a bouncy house, I would. You get what I'm saying?
can see them talking to salarymen late at night. Again, people probably don't think of truancy when they think of Japan, a country known for its discipline. One observer walking through the area documented what he found.
Right there, you see them? Some of them, they're like sleeping on the floor.
Kids sleeping rough. Like there's like a girl dressed up as a maid there just hanging out on the floor. They're homeless kids who have come from the countryside. Okay.
And they're just looking for the companies, like friends. Oh, you could say like 14 to 18. You could be any age, doesn't matter. It's almost like Akihabara. Anyone can be accepted in this town. So you can be homeless, you can be hooker, you can be a gambler, you can be a yakuza, doesn't matter. You can be here.
When children or adults turn to homelessness or otherwise reject traditional Japanese society, it's irreversible. The shame is too much for the family to handle and they shut their doors, and there's often no way back. Kids who aren't on the streets often disappear into virtual worlds. Gaming addiction affects nearly 20% of Japanese youth, but calling it addiction misses the point. These kids know that their digital achievements are safer than the real ones. The isekai anime genre has exploded, roughly translating as born in another world. These are stories about ordinary people transported to fantasy worlds where they actually matter. It's a subtle difference to normal fantasy, as the theme here is escaping to somewhere else where you know you have a chance. Compare that to real life, where you can follow every rule perfectly and still end up collapsed on a sidewalk from exhaustion, with no kids, no family, and no real purpose. While other countries try to solve or deny their dysfunction, they turn theirs into an art form, creating manga, anime, video games that don't just depict social isolation
See, some of this shit does look really cool, though, I can't lie.
and despair, but celebrate and monetize it.
There was this one guy in my apartment threatening to... Okay.
What's so fascinating when you walk around
Well, yeah, like, I mean, obviously, I'm not saying... Like, you get my point about the violence comment, okay?
parts of Japan is how the physical
I see violence in my area. A guy was murdered 2 minutes away from my house a few weeks ago. Okay, you get what I'm trying to say, though, right?
environment seems to mirror all of this social dysfunction. Take the sheer density of vending machines, for instance. Japan has 5 million of them, that's one for every 25 people. You can buy hot coffee, cold beer, fresh flowers for birthdays and funerals, even entire meals without ever having to speak to anyone.
Wait, that's kind of heat, though. I assume it's not good for you long term, but...
Fresh flowers for birthdays and funerals, even entire
Get a cold beer? Like,
vending machines.
a fresh cold beer from a vending machine?
For instance, Japan has
Ooh, don't
5
mind if I
million
do.
of them. That's one for every 25 people. You
Don't
can buy hot
mind if I
coffee,
do.
cold beer, fresh flowers for birthdays and funerals, even entire meals without ever having to speak to anyone. We're already getting there in our own way though, with self-service checkouts everywhere, Uber Eats and groceries delivered to your doorstep, and fewer places to actually go out and socialize. People are working remotely more than ever. Nearly half of Americans live day to day without seeing anyone face to face.
I feel like I'm part of that half.
And yet Japan is still worse
That's why I need roommates.
than everywhere else. The entire place is built to just be alone, to eat by yourself, to do
That looks so good, though. Japanese food looks so yummy.
all activities
I want some fucking, what do you call it, sushi?
by yourself. The idol industry is another which tells us about how humans have become commodities. People are obsessed with them and the industry preys on it. For one group called AKB48, the more records fans purchase, the more opportunities they have to shake hands with the band members. One fan bought 3,000 CDs in support of his favorite act, going into debt in the process just to get more chances at these brief encounters. Over 10,000 teenage girls are idols and counting, and the underground scene gets even more intense.
That's
Underground
weird.
idols appear at shady venues, sometimes for small audiences, and face insane work commitments. Dating bans are enforced because they're necessary for idols to win the support of male fans. They work whenever their bosses need them to, do whatever they want, and are often binded by contracts they cannot break.
Right.
When you zoom out, you see the symptoms are just everywhere. Young adults are living with parents because rent consumes their futures. People find themselves swiping through dating apps for months without ever actually meeting anyone. Jobs grind people down and barely cover their basic expenses. Japan's dystopian solutions might be more creative and extreme, as that's in their cultural DNA, but in some way there's still solutions. While walking out of a job or cutting ties with family is an extremely difficult thing for most, for some it's just pragmatic, it's survival. It's why Japan is just a beta test for our coming future dystopia. It isn't some exotic warning from the future, it's Tuesday in Tokyo and it might be coming to a city near you.
Jesus, well, that's grim. Like I said, man, I hope this is not as bad as it sounds. I really do, because I care a lot about people. In Japan, I've been a enjoyer of a lot of Japanese culture throughout my life. Like, growing up, I watched Pokemon and Beyblade, and, you know, knowing that the country that gave me something I enjoy is not doing so well, you know, it upsets me, so hope that they figure it out. So, yeah, hope you enjoyed. If you enjoyed, leave a like. If you didn't, leave a dislike. I'll see you guys all later. Bye.